Hello, lovers of astrology. I am Sat Sangat. I'm back with another full moon this time. I'm glad to be here with you, and I have a lot to tell you about this full moon. First of all, what I'd like to explain about astrology, if you follow me daily in Facebook under Sat Sangat, my icon is a red rose. You can see the transits, right? Daily transits that have been building up to this full moon. So you can look back a week or two and find out what's been going on in order to have now this full moon. There are other cycles to consider, but for those of you who follow me on Tumblr, I am there too under Sat Sangat Astrology. I also publish daily. As I said, one of the things that I wanted to clarify is that many of the transits that we astrologers describe don't mean much like on the emptiness of this kind of explanations. They need to be applied to your own birth chart as transits, right? And they only affect you if they touch with angles to or directly to your planets, your native planets, or your progressed planets. So I see many astrologers do, for example, by sign every month and things like that, or weekly. And the thing with those is that they are valid, but the problem is that they will not manifest exactly for everybody the same way. Usually what happens is every person has a unique birth chart, right? And so those transits will hit their planets differently, and they will have different effects. And we also need to consider what's actually going on in your life, and how the planetary energy applied to or is correlated to what is going on in your life personally. So pretty soon I'm gonna go live to probably Facebook or something to show you one of the examples in my own life, how for example, Pluto transit right now is affecting me. So I have a great example, and sometimes can be very trivial events in your life that correlate with those planets and those energies. So this is something to take into account, that it's not one size fits all. We need to really apply it personally to what we are living, what we're going through, and also how our birth chart is designed. So as I said, every person is so unique that we have very exclusive effects. So let's talk about this full moon in Pisces. It's at 21 degrees of Pisces, and on the first how is this called, the thumbnail or something for the video, I posted the chart, so you will have a chance to see it. You can pause once we finish this. You can pause it and take a look at the picture of the chart. So before this full moon happens, through the night between the 13th and the 14th of this month, different times in different places of the world. But before she reached that 21 degrees, she met Neptune in Pisces at 17 degrees. And so there she is infused with that Neptunian energy, which is an ethereal energy. It could be very spiritual, very intuitive. It could be also something, an energy that really alters our sense of reality. So we could tap into this place in the universe where there's no space, no boundaries. And also it can make us aware of things that are not seen with our eyes, physical eyes, but we can see through our third eye or our intuition, right? And it also stimulates telepathy and other states of psychic consciousness that can help us understand things that we are unable to understand from the logical perspective of Virgo, which is the opposite, right? So in that energy, we can be able to tap into some truth that we are looking for. So especially look at the zodiac house where the full moon will occur in your chart, and you'll see what area of your life the full moon will illuminate or enlighten, right? So at 17 degrees, Neptune exactly opposes Mars, and both those planets instill their energy that colors the moon's fullness, right? So those planets are the companions of this full moon, and their energy is very important. So the chart is kind of complex, but is amazingly rich in aspects, and it's a wonderful chart, and it's pretty well balanced. So it has really to be taken as a whole. So I'm gonna talk about the different pieces of its puzzle. So as I said, take a look at the houses in your birth chart where Virgo, Pisces, and Sagittarius, and also Capricorn fall. So there are the areas that will be especially affected. So as I said, Neptune can give us the real trip to higher states of consciousness and show us things that are from an unseen reality. And they could be the ultimate truth, right? Very spiritual. The full moon then carries this divine inspiration and spiritual knowledge that can illuminate an issue connected to the house where the full moon occurs on your chart. So intuitively, we understand something that was before obscure, or it was eluding our understanding, logically understanding. So tonight, or the night of the full moon, we have access to other levels of reality, things that, as I said, that may not be logical, right? So Mars opposes Neptune directly, and even though our energy can be low, but this could be good for us because it helps us to slow down and go within and reflect. And at the same time is reaching the fullness of the cycle, that started with the Mars Neptune conjunction in December 2018. So try to remember what was going on in December last year, because now Mars is in the opposition, and then Mars had set his aim as a spiritual venture, right? Because it merged in December, it was merging with Neptune's energy. Maybe you have dreamed of a romantic partner, or a very, I don't know, a very spiritual goal or thing that you wanted to do. So now we have a clear vision of the results of those efforts after several challenges, because what happens is that when it reached the square, right, we probably had some challenges and some instances where we had to change direction or modify something, but now we see clearly what that was about. So today we have the opportunity to separate those dreams, Neptune, from the reality, Virgo. So and with Mars there in Virgo, we may otherwise be blinded by clouds of fantasies, for example. So if we are not careful, we may fall into confusion or deception. Our actions could be confusing or deceptive. Okay, so just a few days before Mars squared Jupiter, if you remember, which that was a challenge to the beliefs that determined our actions, right? Therefore, the dark side of Mars-Neptune opposition is that we may be delusional or have unrealistic ideas about the issue, and probably end up forcefully attempting to convince others of our point of view or try to correct it physically, which is not recommendable. So on the positive side, though, the Sun conjuncts Mars in Virgo, and so it lights the fire of passion, drives our actions. If you've noticed these 2-3 days before, we really felt fired up to do things. And again, Mars will act probably in the same way that he is located in your birth chart. And let me give you an example. For example, my Mars falls in Gemini. And the way my Mars, my actions are fired up are intellectually. For example, these couple of days I've had coming to my mind a whole list of to-do things and that I want to accomplish. But your Mars could be somewhere else where it's not that aggressive. For example, like Taurus, which is slow to move, So those actions may be practical efforts to right the wrongs or correct errors revealed by the moon's light, because the moon actually, it's in a point of making us understand something. There is something in our identity, the Sun, that wants fixing and redressing. So with a mystic discernment from the infinite creative consciousness, which is Neptune and Pisces, we gain an understanding that goes beyond the physical reality. So Mars opposite Neptune can be the ethereal lover that transcend the tangible plane. So we may be pushed to forgive something that we have done, or someone, or maybe our own shortcomings, you know. And Mars gives us the energy to walk the mile, to, for example, to make that action, that tangible action, for example, a phone call to someone to talk about the issue, or to visit that friend or foe and ask for forgiveness, or effectively solve the problem in a practical way. So one of the things is that some people prefer when the issues are difficult. Some people prefer to escape, you know, and I don't know, drink alcohol, or Neptune is in Pisces are archetypes of also in a negative way of addiction and escapism, which can be achieved by any means, you know, even drugs or things like that. But it could also be an energy that can invite us to retreat and reflect on ourselves. So if we are brave enough to face the things alone on our own, we can go on a retreat for 1 day or 2 days, and that will be very helpful. For example, practicing meditation, or silent, for example, 8 hour day of silence, if you are able to, for example, Saturday, if you don't work on Saturday, for example, you can go and do a silent retreat even at home, and you can have this time to reflect and understand what is really the action that you could take. So let us not forget the Mars conjunct the Sun, both trine Saturn and Pluto, and the South Node. And this is an amazing planetary relationship to achieve serious and stable compromises for a deeply transformative change. So we can use this energy in order to really transmute and really transform something that uh, for a long time, I mean, Pluto has been in Capricorn for years. I think it was 2009 or 2005, something like that. He entered Capricorn. And so we've been there for a long time. And Pluto goes 3 degrees and goes back 2, and then goes over the same degrees once more, and then goes back on again. So we review and review and review. But he is an energy, a relentless energy, something that has a grip on the issue, and doesn't let us escape. So, and in Capricorn is a very solid, rocky and earthy energy. So Pluto there is transmuting something that we need to let go. We need to. Pluto is actually destroying. He is a destroyer, the recycler, that can kill and give life again. So it's trans. That's why it's transmutation. The symbol that I always use is the caterpillar becoming a butterfly. So then any change or resolution or reconciliation, forgiveness, amendment, or redress of a problem will profoundly transmute and heal a relationship, right? We need to consider that the full moon is in opposition, plus Neptune and Mars in opposition. Those reflect the axis of Aries and Libra, which mean relationship, how we relate to the other, to the not I. It could be a person, but it could also be a situation, something exterior, external to us. So one can be assured that the long-lasting positive results will happen. Okay, so if you have been dealing with a very difficult, seemingly impossible conflict in a relationship, you can count on this full moon being the very creative instrument of renewing a bond. If you've been dealing with an intimate relationship, for example, Mars trine Pluto will certainly renew the passionate sexual bond, ardently infused by compassion and unconditional love. Neptune square Jupiter, right? The energies of this full moon can thus make the lover's sexual act transcend the physical pleasure and the physical plane, and be profoundly spiritual, creating an enduring and unbreakable emotional bond. Enduring by Saturn, right? Saturn is long lasting, and an unbreakable emotional bond is Pluto. So the moon also sextiles Pluto, which intensifies the transformative power of this mystical, magical, beautiful, and romantic emotions, heightened emotions. The intuition activated by the Neptune moon conjunction can actually take us to the depths of our psychological issues, helping us understand something very important. So tap into that energy is fabulous. I love it. So full moons, like all planetary oppositions, manifest the energy in external elements of our life. As I was saying, the illumination can come from an event, a person, situations, circumstances that reflect to us a completion, brings awareness, or triggers a resolution of something. So the polarity works themes of the zodiac houses occupied by the planetary bodies, and they act as a mirror. You know, you're here, and the other person or situation is there, and by seeing on the mirror, you can learn about yourself. You can learn about the two sides of the coin. This full moon activates thus the houses of Virgo and Pisces, both mutable. One earthy, Virgo, practical and realistic, and the latter, Pisces, watery, idealistic, and compassionate. So there is a need to come to the middle between those two. Okay, not too much realistic, not too much idealistic that we can be deceived or delusional. So come to the middle and combine those. The best way to solve this riddle. So from Sagittarius, a sign of wisdom, metaphysical knowledge and spirituality, Jupiter, now direct, opens up his generosity, benevolence, abundance, and abundant intelligence, and positiveness to inspire us to work on the well-being of all, for the well-being of all. And it will inject in us this enthusiastic vigor to our actions, right? Mars. Basically, the mutable T-square operates as a creative process of acceptance, flexible adaptation, and also integration. So this T-square, actually Jupiter, is helping us to integrate those two polar opposites, Virgo and Pisces, reality and idealism. So Virgo, as the sign of the organized intellectual work, gives the sun the discernment ability. It works on a revision of some aspect of our essential character that might have been involved in a relationship with another person. Virgo, with its analytical traits, is able to bring about resolution of possible relationship regrets or disappointments, conflicts. So, as the moon receives at the same time the sunlight and Neptune's transcendental sensitivity, intuitive, and even psychic knowledge, very emotional though, we're able to give the issue a clear closure. By understanding the deeper meanings, we're able to overcome whatever relational issue we're dealing with. So it's very emotional. This energy is very healing. Virgo and Pisces is the polarity of the healing. So one is spiritual healing, the other one is practical healing. So this full moon generates then a compassionate impulse that facilitates comprehension, assimilation of the truth, and forgiveness. So this can be very effective full moon for the social houses, especially if they fall in your first and seventh, fourth and 10th, or fifth and 11th axis. So it can help us resolve long-standing conflicts or issues with a sensitive and sensible touch. So the moon makes an applying trine to the lunar node, north node in Cancer. I wrote a post about this trining, Neptune trining the north node previously. I can put the link in the description box of this video so you can read about it. But it's the path that we are headed towards, is the future that we seek, this emotional comfort, which implies that the moon is helping us in the direction we should go. For more on this, then visit the previous post, the urge for spiritual development. I'll put the description in the description box. So furthermore, considering that Mercury, the sun's ruler in Virgo, it is in Virgo, not only is there, but is in exact conjunction with Venus at 29 degrees. So there is an urgency to have that sweet talk. It's very creative, conversations, communication, and very loving communication. We can smoothly resolve a dilemma or an apparently unsolvable struggle between two parties, right? Because we have the right words, the sweet words, very gentle, very nice. And so we're able to reconcile those two sides of the coin, or build a bridge. Mercury also rules bridges. Build a bridge of love, Venus, over a river of differences. So with the Virgo Pisces axis, it may be a matter of accepting and forgiving faults, an imbalance, a shortcoming, feelings of guilt or shame. In the High Priestess Tarot card, there are two columns, one white and one black. And so in most decks is the way that is depicted. So that visionary woman, symbolized by the moon on her head, integrates the polarities, right? That's why it's so important not to give in to the escaping pull of Pisces, but to tap into its healing power of compassion, integration, and forgiveness, right? It's very, very forgiving, forgiving. So Pisces can represent unconditional love, and that's why it's easier to forgive. So if one is not involved in a close relationship, one may feel transported into fantasy land, all right, escape, or be swept away by spiritual endeavors. As I said, self introspection, meditation, and the like. So, which is good. Once a month is not, it's not bad to do that. So, however, the best way to use this energy is to find an artistic or creative expression that is tangible, right? Something that you can really touch, that you can really do with your hands. So remember, Mars is very touchy feely. And or an activity in contact with water, right, which is Pisces, or with earth, which is Virgo. So, for example, gardening, writing poetry on a paper with a pen instead of the computer. So, dancing, performing arts, swimming, also, in any activity in the water that is creative. Hand painting with tempera, you know, this kind of painting that you can put your fingers and then do art. So that's great because it's using liquid also. So sculpting, working with clay, for example. Also, Kundalini yoga is a very spiritual yoga tradition that reconciles the spiritual side of yoga with the physical, right? We go from the physical to the spiritual, activating the energies. So, in addition, Venus rules Taurus, right? And who is in Taurus? Uranus. And for this chart is left alone. It's unexpected, except loosely by Chiron. And I also wrote an article about this relationship, Chiron semi-sextile Uranus, that is going on for such a long time because those two planets almost go direct together and go retrograde together. So they keep that semi-sextile. It's very creative. So without any angular relationship with another main body, Uranus energy is free to flow. There he liberates us from outdated values, surprises us seeing things from an innovative angle, right? Uh, Out of the norm values, things that we seemingly we didn't like before, we might like now. So, and it gives us a better understanding of what is unconventional, right? Unconventional values and desires. So we gain a new perspective about our desires, our needs, and wants. So Mars also rules Aries, where Chiron is, which means that Chiron will receive the effects of the full moon as well through the energy of Mars. As I said before, full moon in Pisces has a very, very high healing powers. They can soothe the chironic wound affecting our relationships. So this is great for, reconciling with someone. This is in preparation to the important transformational changes that will be in effect when the stellium travels through Libra. You know, the Sun, the Mercury, Mars, and Venus will enter almost together onto Libra. And there we have a cardinal sign, a sign of changes, of tension, conflicts that pushes to change something. And they will square the energies of Capricorn that we already know about Saturn, South Node, Pluto, especially Pluto. So there will be a possibility to changes, very transformative changes. So to better understand Chiron's role in relationships, I will refer you also to a post that I have on my blog about the September activation of Chiron. So you can read more about that. So there are some health considerations about this full moon. One last piece of advice that I give you, especially for people who are vulnerable to allergies or have a low immune system. The activation of Pisces, it breaks boundaries, right? Pisces is the boundless sign, stronger with Neptune there. The energy is stronger. Neptune is at home in Pisces, so there's no boundaries. In that house where you have Pisces and Neptune transiting, there's no boundaries. It's like everything is dissolved. And so meditate on that, and you'll see. If it is, for example, your money, your possessions, you may have a drain of money, and you don't know where it goes. So no boundaries. Remember this, which means that there's an increase in our vulnerability of all kinds. So it's advisable to strengthen the aura. Meditation, pranayama techniques can help us to prevent the invasion of secret enemies. So remember, Pisces 12th house is the house of secret enemies. What are they? It may be people, but it may be also self-undoing behavior, habits that we are doing to ourselves. So this could include entities invading us, germs, bacteria, viruses, substances, right? Alcohol, drugs, and even other people's energy. So we are really vulnerable there in the Pisces house. So let's remember that Pisces rules the immune system, and the lymphatic system can be working overtime those days. So remember, this is not professional medical advice, but it's just from the astrological point of view. So during the time the moon travels through Pisces, one can be more susceptible to develop intolerance to fish, and with some level of allergic reaction, and even intoxication with excessive alcohol ingest or use of intravenous drugs, legal or illegal, right, is also possible. So especially liquid substances can be poisonous, become poisonous just for the transit of the moon with Neptune and Pisces. So we may be more susceptible if the aura is weak. Doesn't mean that will affect everybody, but when the aura is weak, then we are more susceptible to let in things that we don't want. So I do also energy healing that can help strengthen the aura and clean the energy. So you can contact me by email. One can be even more sensitive to the same medicines that have been taking regularly, meaning that, for example, sometimes a smaller dose will do the same effect. So, but for any health issues, you should consult your doctor. So something happened, go to your doctor. So because this full moon can give adverse reactions to your regular medicines, but as always, just ask your doctor. So if you would like to know more about how the full moon will affect your personally, so I can read your birth chart and the transits and progressions and solar return, lunar return. The lunar return also shows where exactly this energy will affect you. So it's very revealing. It's like the lunar return is like your monthly, personal, very unique horoscope. So that's something that you can order with me. So I invite you to comment on this video, to like, share, follow my blog also. I'll put the link in the description box. Please share my videos and my post in social media. That helps me a lot if you like the content that I offer. So, and also you can also subscribe by email, either on the YouTube channel or on the blog. So that will help promote my my YouTube channel and keep you also in the loop. For example, you can subscribe and also click on the bell. Usually I am live a couple times a month. It may go up eventually, but not for now. I'm very, very busy. But if you have the bell clicked, then you will be notified when I post a video. So I welcome donations also. And thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your being here, and I'll see you next time, probably with the new moon in late September. Meanwhile, you can keep reading me on Facebook, Tumblr, and my blog. Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.